Shields up, Ironbreakers. Today we're going to be taking a look at Soulframe. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with this title, this is a game that is being worked on by Digital Extremes, who are also the people behind the popular video game Warframe. Now, I've played Warframe back in the day. I don't really play it nowadays because I'm not the biggest fan of their business model, but I am still curious to see what Soulframe is all about. And a gross oversimplification of what you're going to expect from Soulframe is kind of like Warframe, except in a fantasy setting. Now, the reason why this gameplay is being released right now is because they're having their annual convention, which is called Tennocon, and this is where they usually release all of the new information about the new stuff that is coming over to Warframe. This time around, they're also releasing a little bit more information about Soulframe, and that is where this gameplay comes from. Now, earlier this morning, I actually already watched a panel where the developers were talking about the game and what we can expect for the game and all of that stuff. And this gameplay was showcased during that panel. So I watched a little bit of this, but I didn't watch all of it. So I'm going to be watching it and analyzing it to the best of my ability. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we can expect from Soulframe.
Remember little Minnow. That night of old.
Quality of this is not fantastic, but it should be okay. So we have this bird flying over a battlefield. These guys are sieging some kind of castle. And this is apparently establishing the backstory of what is likely going to be our character, I think.
Not by sense, but soul. Your baby is home.
Go now, my brave, for tomorrow will come. This night of war will dawn before sun.
So I believe that at this point, the baby is our character. This would be our mother. So this would indicate that we're a recently born child. Recently born baby, sorry.
I remember her face.
So this is character creation. So we're choosing like skin color of our mother here, which also changes the skin color of the baby.
Amber rocks, a wealth of warmth, and of her locks.
Then here we change the hairstyle. Seems like there's only 5 options for hairstyle. I'm not exactly sure how this influences much.
A downy cloud blown across the skies. Like night-lark feathers over her eyes.
I guess another thing that I should say is that for a game that is not even releasing in 2024, I believe they're going to start letting people play in 2024. The visuals aren't really impressing me, but they don't need to. The visuals don't need to impress me. To me, the more important thing is animations, combat, how's that going to feel? Because ultimately, if this is going to be a title that is going to be trying to pull off the same type of stuff as Warframe, it's mostly going to be how does the moment-to-moment gameplay feel, how does the collection of stuff feels, because that's all that Warframe is about. It's a bunch of progression systems, although now I believe that Warframe also has like a pretty cool story. I've been seeing some of the stuff that Legendary Drops has been working on, and he's been finding a lot of success in playing through the story of Warframe, which is cool to see. But, you know, let's see some more.
Of honey mead, of spotted dough. Last love she saw was you. I know. Love lasts trust it was that sent you so.
So he has a strange blue arm.
So that was a sneak peek at Warsong Prologue. As I mentioned, it's the intro quest, and what you saw there is how you create the first customization template of your character. There'll be more for that to come, so you can customize further. We're jumping a bit now to a bit of a showcase on how you can get the next ancestor.
The visuals in here look okay. It's not the best looking game that I've seen so far, but then again, YouTube compression plus the bitrate that they've put on this isn't doing it any favors.
What's really cool if you're in Preludes is you can go here anytime. It's kind of like having your orbiter at the snap of a finger. So you can go in here, you can talk to your ancestors.
So he says while you're in Preludes. What I'm getting from the meaning of that is that Preludes is probably going to be like one of those new open world areas that people have in Warframe. That would be kind of like what I would expect. So it's like this big open world area, and whenever you're there, you can come to this place that works kind of like your ship in Warframe. I don't know if you guys played Warframe, since it's now you have your own personal ship, which works. It almost works like a little housing system, kind of. So that would be that version of this.
Ancestors, work on your meta, queue crafting, look at the lore you just unlocked, change your weapons.
See, one of the things that he says instantly gives me like queue crafting. It annoys me that the whole waiting times for crafting is one of the things that annoys me a lot in Warframe, but you know.
As long as there's no...
I know from veteran players that this is not as big of a deal, so maybe I could get used to that if I was to get into this, but I don't know.
Aggro enemies in the vicinity. At any time, you can go into the Nightfold, and as you collect your ancestors, it's kind of like building a village within this kind of purgatory plane.
Yeah, you can rock over to you can maybe show them the blacksmith.
So ancestors are basically going to be the NPCs that you're going to be recruiting to be in this place called Nighthold, I would assume. And these NPCs will provide you with services pretty much like they do in any RPG that you can think of. So like, oh, here's your crafting NPC. Here's like your consumables NPC. Here's your fashion NPC, that type of thing.
And then just run on into the tent.
Hear all the different musical cues here that we've been working on as well. Each ancestor has their own, which is pretty cool, I think. A lot of traditional instrumentation used and suits their personalities. Same with the voices, custom voices and all of that.
Yeah, so this is our crafting interface. Basically, sort of throughout the world, you'll find little fragments of weapons that have been broken into pieces, and you'll bring them back to Tennocon over here to reassemble them. And as you reassemble more, she'll become less self-conscious about herself.
Got imposter syndrome.
Yeah, real imposter syndrome hitting hard. I relate.
And now I think Joe's going to go and gear up, but you can't ignore the poor dog on your way.
Most important feature.
So basically what we saw earlier is where you go to craft stuff. Like they said, you collect items, you collect fragments of items, you bring them back here, and then it's probably going to require some type of currency or something like that to craft it, and then you're going to queue the crafts. The crafts are going to take anywhere from 12 hours to 72 hours if it's following the model of Warframe. This is assuming that you also craft classes the same way that you craft frames. Assuming you craft something, what do you call it, a soul frame for your envoy. So you go in there, you craft the soul frame, or maybe it's a different NPC. Maybe that one's just for equipment. But, you know, that would take you 72 hours, or maybe if you're crafting something that's a little bit weaker, like a weapon or something, maybe that'll be 12 hours. I don't know, but that's kind of like what you can expect. Go out, collect things, bring them back here, put them on a queue to be crafted, go out, collect more things.
And then, yeah, Joe will give us a sneak peek at our arsenal that we'll have probably a better name for, and he'll just swap out some gear and maybe a little cosmetic change.
So it looks like you have... What is this? Okay, these are weapons. They're swapping over to a sword and shield. Then you have souls, idols, pact, helms. You're also going to equip a helm. What does it say for the helm, though? Let me see again. The kettle helm of Garen Rude is blessed by grace of the omen beast's own crown. Glowing tips of the iron antler reach skyward to Mora's divine power, while the sculpted cap points forward, a weapon of focused will. By the stag's wreath of bone, wield your will with pride. No stats, so I'm going to assume that this is just cosmetic. The weapon would have stats, I would imagine. So some slots in there are going to be cosmetics, others are going to have stats.
So yeah,
I don't actually know.
A bit of work in progress for the next ancestor coming to Preludes.
So it looks like you select a quest, and then this bird kind of guides you towards your quest. There's some type of a compass on the bottom middle section. Usually compasses are on the top section, which makes more sense. I wonder if that thing that just lit up is kind of like a checkpoint, so if you die, you respawn back there. Okay, so I'm assuming those are enemies. 100 Arcanics looks like he's using some type of stealth. He's moving in for a backstab. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a little bit sloppy there. What was that? There was barely an animation for that shield slam. Oh my god! Like, if you want to ask me, oh, Rurikhan, why aren't you like giga hyped? This is why. Look at that dodge roll. Bro, floaty doesn't even begin to describe that. That's a nice execution, though. It also feels very slow, so I think they're gonna have a problem, because like if you're trying to sell this to people who play Warframe, I don't know if you guys played Warframe, but for those of you that aren't aware, Warframe is played like this. Like, you go so fast, usually, that somebody that doesn't even know that much about Warframe, they'll see you play and they're like, what is happening? Because that's how fast you play that game. And you're gonna jump from that into this. It has a much more slower, methodical pace, which to me, I tend to prefer slower and more methodical, but this feels maybe a bit too slow. I'm not sure. Yeah, these animations are... Was that a parry? I feel like that was a parry because the dude was like glowing white. Why are you do... What? People are cheering for this? It's like, I don't think it looks... Actually, no, it doesn't look very good. Like, it does. That combat looks rough. I guess there's some type of pet collection aspect to this. Because the character was also surrounded... Yeah, that's what you get! It's a rat, bro! That's what you get! You get bit by the rat. Oh, and now you're supposed to follow him? That's a big rat. It's like a New York rat. I like that he throws the shield and he picks it back up. See, that's an animation I can get behind because, and I really like the detail that the shield doesn't just come back. You have to trigger it coming back. That is actually really good. Like, look at that. Bong! And it falls and then you pick it back up. That is nice. It's probably the best animation I've seen so far. Yeah, that jumping attack also feels like there's no weight behind it. Looks like he used this this stealth thing. And the boss left. We're back to following the rat. Bonk. Wonder if that's a special attack of the weapon or of the frame. Probably the weapon. Looks like he's supposed to jump so that he doesn't get hit by the attack that's coming from the ground. Dead. Seek your fallen frame right here. So when you die, you get turned into a bird. And it shows you the path of where you're supposed to go to get back to your frame. And it looks like the boss left. Pursue the puppet. It looks like the quest changed.
Puppet, here.
Or maybe this was the quest all along and that other dude was just preventing us from getting to the quest. Ocarina of Time.
Puppets. Oh, this is very dumb. I will catch a chill. You sneak. I would have smelt your aura from here, were my sight not drowned in brine.
So French.
I am the witch Verminia. Enchantée. May you grant us some color and learn some taste besides.
So I'm guessing this is part of the recruitment. Bong. This looks like his arm gives him like magical
boy.
powers.
So you go. Un amuse-bouche.
The Muse Bouche is an appetizer. Draught of Drought. Draft of Drought. That's how you're supposed to read that. Finally, no more misty rain. Bonk. Yeah, the shield throwing is like the best animation they have. Looks like the more he gets hit, the more he's filling a resource on the lower right-hand side. And the more he hits as well. So that's charging up like a spell, I would imagine. I really don't like that jumping attack. Nimrod vanquished. Or a number max level, so you're still going to need to level up your weapons. And then after you level them up, there's probably going to be something that you can upgrade to prestige them and gain more stats. Which I think is kind of how stuff works on Warframe. Or you put a form in them or whatever.
So, I think Joe's going to go introduce you guys to Verminia and her station, where she will provide another progression path.
Oh yeah. So Verminia is our sort of master of colors and elixirs.
There it is.
Leader puppets. There would be nest enough for all. Hardly better. How am I meant to brew my hues in this washed out puddle? I know not. Less. The envoy brings us a nibble?
So this isn't
Is that a bunch
final
of rats?
implementation, but we just wanted to give you guys an impression of the kind of customization you'll be able to do through her.
We could just eat you up.
So you can play around and customize your colors and stuff like that. This is stuff that you also do in Warframe.
Your aura is showing.
Now this next one, I don't think anyone would purposely do it, but we were just curious what would happen if a certain DE employee played Soulframe. We wanted to see how Verminia might feel about that.
Ugh. I must hold my nose. Yes, this is so you. Oh.
It's like the thing is you're seeing them swap all of these things around. Just be aware. Each of those is probably going to either cost you money or a whole lot of grinding time.
Envoy, there you go. My puppets have wished to tell. How you say? Something unsavory. They squeak of red moaning in the coral glen of saccharine odors that waft from his den. His bell tolls. Its echoes taste faintly of black, of torn marks, of claw marks, of drip, 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 sap.
Is that like Cerberus? Because it's got 3 heads. And yeah, that's the that's one of the, I don't know if that's the first gameplay they've shown. I don't think it's the first gameplay, but it's the most recent one. And I have to say, I'm not impressed. I'm curious about you guys, what you guys thought about that, but I feel like it's still a bit rough. Now, this obviously can be improved. This is still very early stuff. I think they're doing an open beta later this year. You know, maybe I'll check it out then. I'll be curious to see if there's any improvements made, but right now, couple of things that I would say is it feels like it's maybe a bit too slow, particularly if you're trying to sell this to a Warframe fan base, which are used to just like jumping around all over the place, friggin' doing, what do they call it? Bullet jumping. They're bullet jumping their way through levels at Mach 2 and just like blasting enemies within seconds. And then you get to this and it feels slower, more methodical, which should appeal more to me, because that's more my thing. I like games that are a little bit slower, more methodical, all of that stuff. But at the same time, the animations, the feeling of weight, the floatiness of the combat feels like rough. And I don't know how much they can improve on that, because when I look at this, and I particularly look at the dodge rolling, I instantly get a sense of familiarity from back when I used to play Warframe. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels really, really rough and not super appealing right now. But let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm curious. We might be checking this out later. But for now, that's going to be it. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification icon, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.